champions and the boxing superstars, where are you? I'm waiting, let's fight. I'm the most avoided boxer.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so two of the most active welterweights in the world were, in fact, in action this past weekend. These are two fighters that I have a lot of time for because they're constantly, active. They're constantly fighting, and they're constantly bringing in their lunch pail and not just waiting for things to happen with their careers, but being proactive. And those two fighters are Alexis Rocha and Michael McKinson, who, I'm a big fan of both of them. And, I think they should fight each other as well. And we'll get to that later in the video. But I wanted to talk about both their fights individually and just where they're at. So we'll start with Alexis Rocha because he had the more high-profile fight. He was headlining a fight on DAZN in which, he took on Anthony Young. Anthony Young is a fighter from New Jersey that's made some noise on the club show scene in the Northeast. Most notably, Anthony Young got a win over a faded, on-the-shelf, ready to retire from boxing, Saddam Ali, and that was really his claim to fame. Really a club fighter. Talked a good game. I watched some of his interviews. Talked a really big game. Was a little disrespectful in the process to Oscar De La Hoya. I'd seen some interviews on YSN Sports Media. So I didn't watch the fight live, but when I was anxious to see the result and to see if he could fight as good as he was talking, because look, Alexis Rocha may not be Terrence Crawford or anything like that, but Alexis Rocha is still one of the top contenders in the welterweight division. So when push came to shove, the verdict we got in the chamber of truth in the ring was that Anthony Young was not that guy, and Alexis Rocha beat the brakes off of him. Rocha, I thought, fought a great game plan where he smothered Anthony Young. He didn't allow Anthony Young to fight at that slow pace and be cute on the outside boxing. He brought the fight to him. He fought behind a really educated jab, got up in his chest, and threw a really short shot, compact shot to hurt this guy. And when push came to shove, he packed him up, tucked him in, and got him up out of there. And levels were displayed in the ring this past week in between Rocha and Young. So respect to Anthony Young for getting in the ring. I'm not downing him. He was a little arrogant and a little disrespectful when it came to De La Hoya and whatnot, saying that like De La Hoya couldn't beat no athletic black fighters and all this type of stuff. And how is he going to tell Rocha to do what he couldn't do? So hey, it comes to the territory. It's part of the sport. If he would have won, he would have gotten all the credit in the world. But unfortunately, not only did he not win, he got packed up and folded up. So Alexis Rocha wins again. He continues to build more momentum. And listen, I think Alexis Rocha, the fact that he's being promoted well and like he's being active, he's getting better. Guys, boxing fans, this is the way it used to be done. Back in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, when you had a upcoming promising talent like an Alexis Rocha, you would box him as much as you possibly could, because this would keep his momentum going, and it would make him more match sharp for when he does get the big call for the big fights. And so, is Rocha a pound-for-pound level talent? I don't think so. But Alexis Rocha is getting better. He's definitely getting better. He's definitely learning his trade in the professional ranks more. He's definitely learning to be more of a killer as far as, knocking guys out, because he has had some problems in the past when he's fought guys he should have knocked out, where he didn't really show that killer instinct. And I feel like, when you fight a guy like Anthony Young, good veteran fighter, 25-plus fights, been in there with some good names, boxed at a certain level, not a hard guy to knock out. I mean, not an easy guy to knock out, I should say. And he did. So it's a good win for him. And happy days for Alexis Rocha, So happy for him. And he really is becoming, I feel like, one of my favorite welterweights in the division, because a lot of guys in the top 15 are just sitting on the ranking, waiting for Crawford and Spence to vacate or fight or get the opportunity. But this guy has just stayed active. He stayed the course the whole way through and just continues to get better. So you got to respect a fighter like him, who maybe isn't the most talented, but brings his lunch pail and is putting the work in to maximize every last bit out of his physical attributes as well as maximize his skill set as well. So good for him. Good for him. Then you have Michael McKinson. Now, Michael McKinson, he fought on the undercard of Chris Miller-Smith versus Lawrence Okoli against another South American fighter whose name I can't remember right now because I don't got it in front of me. But, he's been fighting a lot of fighters, just staying active. And you know what? Listen, man, Michael McKinson the narrative on his career was that he's boring, and the narrative on his career is that he can't get knockouts because, you know, coming into 2023, he only had 2 knockouts. Well, guess what? He's had 2 fights in 2023, and he got 2 knockouts in 2023. So in 2023, Michael McKinson has a 100% knockout ratio. You know, you could say it wasn't against the best of opponents, but the reality is Michael McKinson's getting the knockouts now, so there is no excuse. Michael McKinson deserves the big fights. You know, I think he's UK's #1 welterweight, and let's see what he can do, man. We know McKinson won't duck the smoke. We know that he'll go and he'll fight anybody. We know McKinson fought Virgil Ortiz. He's fought a lot of high-risk, low-reward guys. There's been a lot of people, a lot of fighters that don't exactly want the smoke with McKinson. As funny as that may sound to you guys, being the fact that he can't, you know, really punch, so to speak, right? But he's done it again. He's got a second straight knockout in 2023. He's had 3 fights in the last 6 months. One of the most active fighters in boxing, along with Alexis Rocha. And the way I see it is this: McKinson is not going to get a counterban fight because that's just not going to be in the cards for him. I feel. I would like to see it happen. I think he could beat Counterban, but I just don't see it happening. Rocha's WBO mandatory, right? He got that spot because Virgil Ortiz decided to go another route. And that's how he got that spot. He said he wants the winner. He wants the winner of Crawford and Spence next, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I'm kind of with him. Like, these 2 guys held the division up enough. They shouldn't get a rematch clause, but they're gonna get a rematch more than likely because it's already in the contract. So in the intermediate time, I feel like the fight to make for both these guys is each other. Alexis Rocha versus Michael McKinson is the fight to make, and this is a fight that was discussed last March when Michael McKinson was initially slated to fight Virgil Ortiz. Ortiz pulled out because he had rhabdomyosis, and this fight was discussed briefly, and it didn't happen. But I like the fight because I feel like, you know, McKinson would definitely be a step up for Rocha. Like, I think McKinson's a step up from Anthony Young. McKinson is a step up from George Ashe. He's a step up from a lot of guys Rocha's been fighting since Blair Cobbs. I even think McKinson's a step up from Blair Cobbs. I think if Rocha were to defeat Michael McKinson, it'll be the best one in his career, right? But for McKinson, you know, he hasn't really fought, you know, a murderer's row of great talents since the Virgil Ortiz fight. He fought Roberto Ariasa. He fought the Italian guy he knocked out his last fight, and he fought this little South American guy in this fight, right? So he hasn't had the opportunity to fight, you know, name opponents because he's just been staying busy and fighting whoever he can. But, you know, we know McKinson's beaten Chris Congo, who's at a good level in the welterweight division domestically in the UK. He was the underdog in that fight. Chris Congo was pegged to do some big things. He fought Virgil Ortiz. It took Virgil Ortiz longer than anybody has in his entire career. And he's fought a bunch of other guys who on the British and European level and even on the French world level, you know, were undefeated guys with good records. So if you look at the CV and the resume of McKinson, names aren't the big names, but the records of the guys he's fighting are good records. He's not really getting the opportunity to fight guys with trash-ass records. So underrated fighter, you know. So I like the fight. You know, Rocha's a volume puncher, southpaw, likes to come forward, likes to bring the fight. McKinson's a guy that is physically strong, bigger than he looks on TV, can box, can move, but can also be physically strong as well. And has shown, even before these fights when he was getting knockouts, you know, he's shown that he can drop fighters. You know, he's not as feather-fisted as you may think. He's not a big puncher, so to speak, but he's physically strong, and he's an accurate fighter, so it can lead to knockouts. So I think Rocha versus McKinson would be a good fight because what it would do is it would start to clear up the middle pack of, like, the top 10, top 15. Because when you look at, like, the fighters from, like, you know, just the contenders, a lot of the contenders aren't fighting each other. Like Gerard Ennis and all these, like Cody Crowley and these guys, they're not fighting each other like they should. It's not happening enough. So I feel like this could be the catalyst to some great things in the welterweight division, and I want to see the fight. So yeah, that's my take on Alexis Rocha, Michael McKinson's fights this weekend, where they're at in their careers. And I just think, you know, the natural progression of what's happening is that these are the 2 of the most active welterweights in the world. They're both ranked. They both have been in line to fight each other before. Why not make the fight, you know? So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. McKinson versus Rocha, Rocha versus McKinson. What do you guys think of it? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just kidding, Daniel. So until next time, Take care, guys.
Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. We're here at the Hatanaka Boxing Gym in Nagoya, Japan. And for more great videos just like this one, make sure you guys click right here.